Each subatomic particle holds a quibble, which is a cluster of multiverses that each contain a set of universes. Quibbles are 2 dimensions below the subatomic particle they're contained in, with each universe contained within having their own subatomic particles and their own quibbles. Each universe is spatially infinite and holds infinite subatomic particles, making every subatomic particle an infinite-dimensional hierarchy. High 1b, high hyperversal. These are held in a larger hierarchy of infinite universes known as branes. Each brane transcends the one below it, making the internals of one idleverse. Infinite layers into high outer. This is then encapsulated by a transcendental programming which would scale the construct as a whole to 0 boundless. This construct is known as a idleverse. There exist a transfinite amount of idleverses all bathed in an infinite liquid known as milk, making the base of the cosmology. Layered into 0 boundless. Real world. A plane known as the real world transcends this. It is implied that idleverses exist within the real world. A subatomic particle within the lowest layer brane of a real-world idleverse would be an infinite layered boundless hierarchy. There are infinite of these within a brane, which is then stacked into a larger infinite hierarchy. This is one real-world idleverse. There are a transfinite amount of these in the real world, making the real world immeasurable layers into 0 boundless. Fifth wall. There exists a narrative wall that separates the real world from a superior world that views it, and the fifth wall itself as fictional, with the fifth wall itself also viewing the real world as fiction. Immeasurable, possibly inaccessible layers into 0 boundless. Fifth wall world. The world that resides above the fifth wall is the fifth wall world, viewing the fifth wall as fictional. It is also implied that idleverses exist within the fifth wall world. A subatomic particle within the lowest layer brane of a fifth wall world idleverse would be an inaccessible layered boundless hierarchy. There are infinite of these within a brane, which is then stacked into a superior infinite hierarchy. There are also a transfinite amount of these in the fifth wall world, which would scale the fifth wall world to irrelevant layers into boundless. Heaven. Heaven is a plane completely transcendental of the entire cosmology. The player simply accessing heaven resets the entire cosmology to pre-Baker. Heaven can also alter a mathematically ineffable concept, the concept of a material known as miraculite, which is described as unable to be conceptualized with science nor philosophy. Heaven can alter this material at a conceptual level to universally increase its efficiency. This would mean that heaven transcends a mathematically unbound concept and by proxy mathematics itself. Beyond tiering. The Baker. The player, better known as the Baker, is transcendent over heaven and the entire cosmology. As the Baker can access heaven at will and completely destroy the entire cosmology including heaven at will. Beyond tiering to beyond tiering plus.